Welcome to Resource Grinds, your in-depth guide into resource farming in Fallout 76. In each episode of this ongoing series, I'll be focusing on a single resource, breaking down its availability by workshop, mining, scrapping, and camp placement, if applicable. Along the way, I'll provide additional tips on how you can maximize the yield of your farming efforts, so you can focus more on playing the game and less on collecting materials. In today's video, I'll be showing you where you can find nuclear material, a particularly rare resource that you'll need for weapon mods, power armor mods, high output generators, and other various applications. While noticeably less plentiful when compared to other materials found throughout Appalachia, a fair number of options exist for keeping a constant supply on hand, particularly when it comes to workshops. Starting with this episode, supplemental video notes will be provided on the Firebase Prime website, which you can access at the URL currently being displayed or by using the link in the description down below. These notes will include more detailed information and several maps generated using Appalachia to further assist you in locating the items covered in this video. Basically, this is where you'll find the finer details that aren't conveyed optimally in video form, so definitely check it out once you're finished watching the video. But without any further delay, let's get into it. When it comes to farming nuclear material, your best bet by far when it comes to workshops is going to be Federal Disposal Field HZ-21. Here, you can build 3 nuclear extractors, along with accompanying sources of 10 power each, to produce a combined total of 60 pieces of uranium ore per hour. As with copper extractors, nuclear extractors provide ore as opposed to scrap, so you'll need to take the ore collected from workshop extractors and smelt it down before it can be used. This can be done at a chemistry workbench, with 2 scraps of nuclear material costing 5 pieces of ore plus 5 acid. While inconvenient, equipping the Super Duper perk card prior to smelting will give you up to a 30% chance of getting double the scraps each time you smelt. Overall, this means that you'll be able to get somewhere between 12 to 15 scraps of nuclear material an hour, assuming that you return to the workshop frequently enough to keep each extractor from reaching its 10 ore capacity limit and are using a fully leveled Super Duper card. Outside of Federal Disposal Field HZ-21, you can find uranium ore deposits at the Poseidon Energy Plant Yard, Monongah Plant Yard, Thunder Mountain Power Plant Yard, and the Red Rocket Megastop. At these locations, you can build a single nuclear extractor to produce up to 20 pieces of uranium ore per hour. While that's only a third of the uranium ore that you'd receive when compared to Federal Disposal Field HZ-21, these workshops can be viable options if you're also looking for other resources. For example, all 3 power plant yards are the only workshops in the game that manufacture fusion cores, while the Red Rocket Megastop is the best workshop for farming aluminum. Junk items can also be a good source of nuclear material, with the highest yielding items being ecre sacs, which can be picked up from downed blood bugs, and rad scorpion stingers, which, as the name suggests, can be picked up from downed rad scorpions, both of which will provide you with 2 scraps of nuclear material. You can also scrap nuclear material from several common junk items, including biometric scanners, blast radius board games, high-powered magnets, nuclear waste, rad poker board games, volatile material boxes, and Wakemaster alarm clocks. These items will only provide you with a single scrap of nuclear material, but can be found at many locations across the map, with volatile material boxes and blast radius board games being the most plentiful. When it comes to interior cells, there aren't really any with notable concentrations of these items, aside from maybe one, that being the Kanawha Nuka-Cola plant, where you can quickly pick up 9 pieces of nuclear waste, assuming that you have one of the 3 lockpicking perk cards equipped. To get started, enter the plant via the easternmost door, and once inside, proceed through the lobby and head into the main atrium. From there, take the first staircase to the right, which will lead you to the Snackability Research and Development Lab. Inside the first room of the lab, you'll find the first 2 canisters towards the end of the room, one on the center counter and the other on the counter nearest the main atrium. From there, lockpick the door at the back of the room and beware of the 2 ghouls waiting inside. Once the ghouls have been cleared, you'll find 3 additional canisters, one of which can be found on the back shelf, and the other 2 on the shelves found in the center of the room. Here you'll also find 2 Nuka-Cola Quantums and a Nuka-Cola Cranberry. Once you finish looting the room, head directly across the atrium to the Flavor Profile Ops Lab. Here you'll find the 6 canister and a safe in the farthest back section of the room. Now, head back to the main floor of the atrium and proceed further into the facility until you come to a large hole in the center of the floor, revealing the sub-level below. Take out any ghouls you may see from above and drop into the exposed room. Here, you'll find the 7th and 8th canisters. Finally, from the window located behind the Tinkerer's workbench, you'll be able to see the 9th and final canister located in the middle of the factory floor. In addition to common junk, nuclear material can also be found in a handful of harder to find items. These include mini-nuke components, Vault-Tec alarm clocks, and radioactive glands. To find the mini-nuke components, head to the Watoga Underground and begin making your way through the Blood Eagle-infested facility. Just before reaching the first silo, you'll pass through an automotive maintenance area and come to a point where a terminal can be seen in an office to the right, overlooking another office with a locked door to the left. Enter the office on the right and unlock the terminal, which conveniently does not require any hacking perks to attempt, and select the option to unlock the door once you've guessed the correct password. Now you can cross over into the other office and use the previously locked door to enter a large storage room, in which you'll find 2 mini-nuke detonator shells and 2 mini-nuke hemisphere cores, all of which will provide you with 1 scrap of nuclear material each. You'll also find a set of mini-nuke fins, but these break down into other resources and will not provide you with any nuclear material. To find the Vault-Tec alarm clocks, head to Fort Defiance, make your way through the scorched out front, and head into the asylum. To get both clocks, you'll need to venture pretty far into both sides of the building, with one of the clocks being on the 3rd floor in the southernmost portion of the southern wing, and the other being on the 2nd floor of the northernmost portion of the northern wing, both in western-facing rooms. To find the southernmost clock, enter the southern wing and fight your way through the area's ghouls until you've climbed to the 3rd floor and are in the southernmost hallway. Looking on the western side of the hallway, about halfway down and between 2 boarded up doors, you'll find a large opening in the wall. Walk through this opening to access a room full of stacked beds. To your right and at the end of this room, you'll find another large opening leading into a narrow room. In this room, you'll find the clock sitting on a floating shelf. Before exiting this wing, make sure to throw the switch to open the door to the northern wing if someone else hasn't already done so. For the northernmost clock, cross into the northern wing of the building and make your way through the blood bugs and rad roaches to the 2nd floor and continue to the northernmost hallway. Looking down the western side of the hallway, you'll find the 2nd clock and the first open door past the security gate, sitting on a table in the back of the room. Finally, radioactive glands can occasionally be found in super mutant meat piles, but are pretty rare to find. When verifying details for this video, I was unable to locate a single one, but in the process did learn that rad scorpion stinkers do occasionally appear in piles located in the Savage Divide, particularly ones located in Huntersville. While searching through the town's piles, I was able to locate 5 stingers in total, which breaks down to 10 nuclear material. While this isn't a substantial amount, it does make the town a potential destination if you only need to find a few pieces and want to also grind some XP in the process. Ultimately, while the scarcity of these rare items makes them non-viable options if your sole intent is resource farming, I wanted to touch on them due to their uniqueness and to also be as thorough as possible. For the mini-nuke parts and Vault-Tec alarm clocks, the locations I just covered are the only places to find them in the game, so if you enjoy collecting rare items, these may be of particular interest. On a final note, it's worth pointing out that enemies who have been gooified by certain energy weapons, such as the Gatling Plasma or Ultrasight Gatling Laser, may drop nuclear waste upon death. With this in mind, certain events, such as Radiation Rumble, can be great sources of nuclear waste if you get hits in on most of the enemies. Radiation Rumble in particular tends to attract players with Gatling Plasma legacies, leaving several goo piles of nuclear waste to loot after the event's completion, made even easier by the recent ability to search nearby corpses. Something I didn't realize until doing research for this video is that you can in fact mine uranium ore. The problem is, well, there's not a lot of places to mine it. Specifically, there are only 60 nodes across the map, spread mostly between the Ash Heap and Cranberry Bog. Keeping that in mind, mining probably isn't going to be the most viable option for farming nuclear material. However, if you do decide to mine uranium ore, remember to use a full set of excavator power armor when collecting the ore so that you can get double the normal amount, and equip the super duper perk before smelting the ore into scrap at a chemistry workbench. Finally, if you want to ensure that you always have access to at least some amount of nuclear material, you can strategically place your camp at the side of an ore deposit and build a resource collector on top of it, which will provide you with up to 20 pieces of ore per hour. Just keep in mind that a nuclear extractor has a capacity level of 10, so you'll need to drop by your camp every so often to empty out new ore to receive the highest possible yield. Appalachia provides great maps detailing exactly where to find these deposits, which I'll provide a fresh export of in this video's supplemental notes. That's it for this grind. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button, and while you're at it, also hit subscribe and ring the bell if you'd like to be notified when future videos like this one are posted. I'll be back with another video soon, but until then, and as always, for the Enclave.